Book 101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a Harvard Business School trained CEO and author on a mission to change corporate leadership, sharing real stories and how love as a leadership operating system transform a company and lives inside no other than Mr. Robby Humble.
Thank you, Daniel.
Welcome, Mr. Robby on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, no, you gave a great introduction. I've spent 20 years in corporate America. I am Harvard trained, as you said, with an MBA. And but the harsh reality is, while my career moved up and to the right over the course of 20 years, more money, more promotions, bigger titles. At various points in time, I actually regretted getting a Harvard MBA because I didn't feel like I fit in that system. I excelled in that system, but I felt different from the system. And that ultimately led me to leave corporate 2 years ago and start a business. And that business ultimately failed and I lost a lot of money. And I decided to return to corporate as a CEO. And I've been in that role for 9 months now. And we're seeing a dramatic transformation of a company, and we're seeing a dramatic transformation of lives within that company, which is what inspired me to write my book, which is entitled Love in Leadership. And it's all about the application of love as you said, as an operating system within business, as a contrast to the existing paradigm of fear and greed as the primary motivators for change and for productivity and performance in business. My argument is that love is the far better third alternative to those two.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Robby. Thank you. And today let's talk about why leaders in a state is the hidden driver of performance. The
Yeah,
hidden.
so in my book, I talk a lot about the nervous system of a leader. And just to ground us before I go into that, I think it's important to note that most leadership books that you come across give you a list of things to do. It's
Mhm.
all about do X, do Y, do Z, and get results A, B, and C. You get playlists, playbooks, checklists, etc. My book is very different. My book is about who you are as a leader, not what you do as a leader. And I outline a framework in the book about how leaders can show up as their best selves as leaders and deliver performance that frankly defies logic, and in the process materially change lives of their employees and the people in their employees lives for the better.
The hidden link is a powerful concept. What is the specific client story, a personal experience, or a piece of research that serves you as your eureka moment, revealing the undeniable connection between trauma and the money?
Yeah, well, and I realized I didn't really answer your question in the prior answer. For me, this was it was I've been building this message for 20 years. My belief, my philosophy for leadership. It wasn't a book or one particular moment that really awakened me to this message I have to share. It was the last 9 months leading within an organization, leading with the philosophy of love and seeing the company transform because of it. And it is my belief that the largest contributor to our performance as a company is the is a direct outflow of my ability to calm my nervous system, to focus on how I show up and what triggers me to be angry or sad or happy, what things have happened in my life that cause me to show up in a certain way. And by understanding myself and really tuning into myself and centering myself, I then can quiet the noise to be able to attune to others in my environment to lead the organization as a greater organism. And I have this belief that the the nervous system, the way that a leader shows up, has a direct impact on the nervous system of the organization and how the people in it show up. So, for example, just to make this very clear, we've all been in meetings where the boss, the most senior employee, walks in and has a frown on his face,
Hmm.
and the whole room goes cold when that happens. And contrast that to a leader who walks in and the room feels warmer, and people feel comfortable, and people feel safe to contribute and feel safe to have courage. That is what I'm talking about when I talk about the nervous system of the leader having an impact on the nervous system of the organization, which has a direct impact on the organization's capability to deliver and the people within it to be able to deliver.
How do you define leaders' inner state in practical terms? Is it primarily their emotional regulation, their mindset and belief, the energy levels, or combination of those elements?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. My model specifically lays out an acronym called CALM, where the C is center yourself. The A is attune to others, the L is lead with steadiness, and the M is make meaning. But it all starts with the leader and them being centered in themselves. That's emotionally, that's intellectually. It's understanding who you are as an individual and why you show up the way that you do in the world and the impact that your behavior has. Really understanding the impact that your behavior has on the people around you, because without that understanding, it's like driving blind. And why I feel this is so important for leadership, the state of being rather than the lists of doing, is that it doesn't matter what you do if you don't do it from a place of centeredness and calm and resiliency as a leader. The things you do will be derailed by the state of the leader. And so it's my assertion that the first thing a leader needs to do is to become the person that is really capable of leading transformation and doing so from a place of centeredness.
Why is this connection so often overlooked in traditional leadership development, and what is the tangible cost to organizations that ignore it, Mr. Robbie?
Yeah, well, the tangible costs are there's various tangible costs. There's first and foremost, I'll say, is the cost on the health and well-being of their employees. There are organizations where heart attacks are a regular occurrence, where divorces and broken families result from workplaces that are hard driving, high pressure, filled with fear, all in service to greed. These are life and death circumstances for employees. The costs to the business are very real when people don't feel safe to show up, when they're afraid or they're operating from a place of compliance. They don't bring opportunities to the table. They don't raise challenges. And so there is revenue lost. There are cost savings missed. There is new product developments that are not even raised because people don't feel safe raising their hand. There are massive challenges that are not identified until it's too late because people didn't feel safe saying that something felt wrong. And so the costs are very real. And I would argue the upside to leading in a different way is very high. In my own company, we had flat revenue for 5 years and declining profits during that same period. And I'll remind you, I'm only 9 months into my role. Within 3 months, we were delivering double-digit sales growth, which has not happened at this company in close to a decade, and our profit was up substantially. And so there is a very real upside to leading differently because we did not launch new products, we did not launch new services, there was no new marketing, there was no new sales tactic. This was simply just a different way of leading that unlocked the intrinsic value of the employees. And so that is an opportunity cost that people are paying by not leading from a place of love.
Many leaders pride themselves on being able to compartmentalize the
Mm.
personal stress from their professional role. Why is this not only a myth, but a potentially a dangerous strategy, Mr. Robbie?
Yeah, this is a hotly debated topic. Let me first say that there are things that are appropriate to bring to work, and some things that are not appropriate to bring to work. And I won't argue with people on that point because I do believe not everything belongs at work. But compartmentalization is very dangerous because you put on a mask. It is dangerous literally to your health if you are ignoring parts of yourself, if you are shutting them down, you are not able to show up as a fully integrated leader. And that will compromise your ability to gain trust with employees and uh, and will compromise your ability to lead effectively. And so, I think the similar case could be made that fear is a strong motivator for employees, and there's some truth to that. So, the fear of integrating yourself and showing up as fully authentic um, has a cost to it, and um, but there are benefits to that. Fear can get performance, fear can get compliance, but at what cost? And as I started, the cost is oftentimes a human cost. And what I found is that you can get more performance, better performance, by putting fear aside and creating a safe place where people can show up as their best selves. And not only will you get better performance, you will have a team of people that genuinely love and care about you as a leader.
What are the telltale signs in a team's culture that point directly back to a leader inner state, even the reader themselves, aware of the connection?
Yeah, I think on the side of the scale where the leader um, is coming from a place of fear, and perhaps they are afraid, and perhaps they are afraid and or are using fear as a mechanism to drive performance. What you get is you get people that perform in the literal sense and the figurative sense. So you will get performance, you will get numbers from them, but you will only get a certain amount because they are tailoring their answers in every question they answer. They are tailoring their presentations. Every word that comes out of their mouth is tailored to make sure that they are not putting themselves in harm's way. And so, by a leader showing up from a place of fear and leading from a place of fear, you will only get a fraction of what you can get out of your employees. And therefore, you are limiting your upside as an organization if you are leading from a place that discourages your employees from doing courageous things, asking courageous questions, raising concerns courageously. You leave the room is quieter, the room is colder. That's what it feels like to have a leader that is dysregulated and or leading from a place of fear. And if you contrast that with a leader who, as I mentioned before, walks in and the room warms up and people get more comfortable as that leader walks in, maybe they have a sense of humor, maybe just a lightness about them, people let their guards down, and meetings will be lighter, they will be fun. And as long as you have the right structure and the right set of standards and expectations of your people, not only will meetings be lighter and fun, but they will be far more productive than they were. And I will also note that you will have far fewer meetings. I've worked in a number of organizations where people had meetings before the meetings, before the meetings, and then meetings after the meeting to talk about the meeting. And when you have a culture where everything can be said in the meeting because there's psychological safety, and that's transmitted through the leader's presence, then you have one meeting and everything you need to get accomplished gets accomplished, and there's no drama.
Your work must move from awareness to action, Mr. Robbie. What is one concrete evidence based tool or ritual you prescribe for leaders to intentionally cultivate resilient, high performance in a state, especially during crisis?
I'm sorry, what's the question, Daniel?
Your work must have more awareness to action. What is one concrete evidence based tool or ritual you prescribe for leaders to intentionally cultivate resilient?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Something that I've been gaining more and more appreciation for is the act of meditation. You
Mm.
hear a lot of people talk about this, but I think learning to sit still and sit in the quiet and focus on breathing and learning how to settle your own nervous system is a very practical way of preparing yourself to lead effectively. And it doesn't have to be on a cushion in a forest. You can be sitting at your desk 5 minutes before a meeting and just take 2 minutes to close your eyes, breathe deeply, focus on your intentions for the meeting and what you would like to accomplish and the way that you would like people to feel when they participate in and ultimately conclude this meeting. So that's my biggest advice from a practical standpoint is take 2 minutes before every meeting where you have team members that report to you and close your eyes, breathe deeply, and think about the ways that you want them to feel in that meeting. And then that'll be your guide for how you show up when you actually turn the camera on or walk through the door.
Yeah, so Mr. Robbie, as a CEO, what are your short term and long term goals?
um, my short term goals are to continue the growth we're seeing as an organization. And frankly, those are my long term goals as well. I'm relatively new into this role. And so I have a lot of runway. I've got a lot of energy. I'm very excited about the future. And uh, we're doing a lot of things strategically now. We are introducing new products and new services. Um, but not letting ourselves get distracted from the fact that those things all matter, but they don't matter as much as the way that we show up as leaders every single day. And so, short term and long term objectives are to continue to drive growth through this organization, and to do so through the lens of leading from a place of love.
Well, good luck to your goals, Mr. Robbie, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
Oh, wow. For people who want to be like me, be courageous. It's and I'll warn you, to be like me, life is not all unicorns and rainbows. It's not easy,
Yes.
and I got to where I am in this life by being courageous, and that's courageous in taking opportunities. That's courageous in taking risks. Courageous in facing challenges. Courageous enough to have the hard conversations that are needed. And so that's the biggest thing I would say. The greatest force shaping my life has been courage, and that's my encouragement to you if you want to be anything like me.
Yes, and thank you for that advice, Mr. Robbie. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Yeah, one of my favorite books of all time is The Five Dysfunctions of a Team by Pat Lencioni. He talks about how to build a healthy team that achieves uncommon results, and it's been a huge inspiration for me as I've developed my own philosophy around leadership.
Thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Robbie. So, what is the most compelling piece of neuroscientific research, historical example, or organizational data you encountered that solidified this as irrefutable truth for you?
There's not a lot of data. There are companies that perform well with leaders who lead from the place that I'm speaking of, but there's not a lot of hard data. And so my best, most compelling data set is my own lived experience, where I have seen the philosophy. I've seen it incorporated well into leadership. I've seen it not incorporated well into leadership. And I'm seeing in my own experience in my current role the power, the step change, uh, dramatic change in growth, in performance that you can get by leading in the ways that I'm speaking about.
If every leader in an organization truly mastered their inner state, what would the feeling output of the organization be? Can you paint a picture of this high trust, high clarity, or high performance environment?
Yeah, I mean, there would be places where people enjoy coming to work, where they feel more fulfilled and uplifted when they go home than they did before they came to the office. A great example in my own company is one woman, her name is Sharon, conveyed to me in a meeting a few months back that she had always lost sleep at this company. She's been here for 25 years. She said it used to be because she couldn't sleep on Sunday nights because she was dreading what she had to do the next day. Sharon has a new role, a new title under my leadership. And she said, now I lose sleep because I'm so excited about what I have to do the next day, about what I get to do the next day. And so that's what it looks like. It looks like employees that are excited to do their work. It looks like growth that you didn't think was possible. Um, my own experience is there is a double digit upside to revenue by changing nothing other than the way that you show up as a leader.
Empowering answer, Mr. Robbie, and before we wrap up our discussion for today, I invite you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in third season, on my book 101 review in its sixth season as well. Comedy 101 in third season, and food 101 in sixth season too. Geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101, our fourth season, science 101, sex 101 in its third season, and my baby podcast, trivia 101, law 101, mental health 101, motivation 101, entrepreneurship 101, and of course, Bible verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Robbie, ultimately, this work moves leadership from paradigm of doing to a paradigm of being. What is your final message to leaders about profound personal freedom and professional effectiveness that comes from doing this inner work?
Know thyself.
Mhm.
I think that's the most important thing is know who you are, know how you, why you show up the way that you do, be aware of that and adjust accordingly.
Yes, people, know thyself. That's so true. Know thyself, people. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Robbie. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or anything you want to promote on Book 101?
Yeah, please go follow me on LinkedIn. It's Robby Humble, Robbie with a Y, Robby. And my book will be released in late March. You'll be able to get the details on that from my LinkedIn page.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Robby Humble, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering books will rise. So, Mr. Robbie, one more question. If a leader's inner state is a thermostat for their team's climate, how does the principle scale to shape an entire organization's culture? Thus, the CEO inner state effectively set the organization's emotional operating system.
I'm sorry, one more time, Daniel.
If a leader's inner state is a thermostat for their team climate, What is the principal skill to shape the entire organization's culture?
That's an interesting question. I think it's their emotional regulation. So, are they showing up well regulated and within themselves and centered, or are they showing up in ways that are unpredictable and difficult for employees to navigate?
Mr. Robby Humble, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel.
Bodycom people, see you soon.